Podcasting from your friendly neighborhood Brooklyn rooftops, this is the Brooklyn Baritone Podcast. All right, everyone. Whatever format that you're listening to, watching me, it's a fantastic day, at least for those who can see me on YouTube land or my website. For those listening to my podcast, I wish you could see it. Beautiful, clear, nice day. But we're going to get straight into this podcast here. I'm going to call this title Human First. Recently, the deaths of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery by the hands of callous, hateful, and deliberate individuals reveal the undoubted and unchecked racist culture that has plagued its existence for centuries by way of academic and cultural indoctrination, via false sciences, biased and unethical lawmaking, and a very successful, aggressive global marketing campaign against people of color. Now, I do get it that many people of color, especially in this country in America, don't have the unified effort for positive movement the way they should. But believe me, that's another episode that I will be covering. Let's move forward. The acceptance of these racist ideals and actions reflect not just on the individuals that commit them, but even more of those in leadership positions. The bigger picture here is that the police and public are on the ground in the trenches, in major conflict with each other. What about those that have the authority over the wayward actions of law enforcement? How many actually have gone forward with disciplinary actions to cull the gross abuse of those in law enforcement? Has your councilman done anything? Has your congressman done anything? Has your senator done anything? Has your police commissioner done anything? Has your mayor done anything? Has your governor done anything? Has any of your presidents done anything? Before you answer that, we're going to go furthermore into the meat of all this. In usatoday.com, 2019, a report was taken of 200,000 accounts of national police misconduct records. The findings in these reported police misconduct records is that dishonesty in law enforcement was a frequent issue with these misconduct issues. The findings also indicate that less than 10% of officers get investigated for misconduct. Not to be mistaken that it's only 10% or less than 10% are actually implicated with anything. No, it's only 10% that's actually punished or even acted upon because it was, I guess, too much attention to turn a blind eye from. You always have to remember that you are human first. For those of you that know without a doubt, always remember that Elohim did not create you to be fearful or even oppressive to your fellow man. For those that are indifferent or even reject our creator Elohim, whom I always talk about, he is our ultimate source of moral guidance and wisdom. That doesn't come from us because we cannot be trusted to be a solid source of any of these things. As we can see the condition that we're in right now, we can definitely see the path that we're headed. There are many people who do get it right, but then many people who don't. Many people who ultimately get weakened by not governing themselves the way they should. Being human means that even though we are all flawed, our Creator has His mark on us. This means that it is our responsibility to govern ourselves accordingly, help hold up our fellow man, and have dominion over everything that we survey. That's what that means to have our Creator's mark on us. So when we have our Creator's mark, We're supposed to govern ourselves, like I just said. So even more so, those who are entrusted with these positions, law enforcement and higher, they should have higher accountability when things don't go right and things are left unchecked. These things should not be left for us, civilians and public, to have to deal with on our own accord. The problem is, there are people in these positions who are definitely appalled by these actions all the time, but then there are a lot of them who want to do something, but they can't because they don't want to jeopardize their career because they will definitely have backlash. And then we have those that are in these leadership positions that are down for whatever is being done to other people, as long as it's not being done to them. Or they're even, in fact, part of these organizations, of these like-minded individuals that like to oppress other people. We have to keep our leaders in proper accountability. You see, I was in the Air Force. I'm a veteran. And I know about what's called the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. You see, when we had gross negligence or misconduct or abuse, this term was known as fraud, waste, and abuse, a well-known term with a lot of people who are in the service now or who are veterans, even people who are in the United States government. This is a term that's used for people who misuse funds, misuse resources, and abuse their authority because they are entrusted. We were entrusted with public funds and resources. So whenever we were found guilty of such things, we had the Uniform Code of Military Justice to make sure that we were either reprimanded properly, demoted. A lot of people lost that big chunk of change they were getting every month. Many people were dishonorably discharged. That means you are pushed out of the military effectively, and effectively not receiving any pension in any way, shape, or form. And that also meant that you would not set foot in the United States military again, and it was very hard to get into the United States government after that. This also made sure that people who were found very guilty of gross negligence that probably cost a lot of money, that showed the military in a very negative light to the point where they could not just recover from it or sweep it under the rug, or your actions caused the death of other people or harm of other people, or even compromised data and resources. That was jail time. You went to Fort Leavenworth, full-time residency all the time. Then you got out, federal prison of one of the highest degrees. So I believe that these people in law enforcement, our leadership, judges too, need to be held to the same accord because they are dealing with the civil affairs every day of people. So when you have gross misconduct to someone who doesn't deserve a very harsh judgment, or people who are even innocent, these things alter their lives. You are marked if you have a criminal charge on you. It'll be harder for you now to shake that. Not just your reputation, but now if you want to move forward professionally in this world that's going to be in control by money and status. These people need to be held to the highest form of the law. Gross negligence. The problem is, of course, we don't govern ourselves properly, which is why we're in this problem where we need to be policed. And now, as man continues to show his ineptitude to live properly, we have to police the police. The cycle is not going to end until we get right with what we know is proper. Whether you believe it or not, we have to understand that God, Elohim, Yeshua HaMashiach, is the source for everything. We cannot possibly seek out a solution with the same mindset that made the problem in the first place. We have to seek higher than what we're doing now and better. Anyways, hopefully I made you think. Hopefully I might have stepped on some toes. That's good. I want to make sure that you always can find my content on my website at www.inescapable.com. www.brooklynbaritone.com. You can also catch my content on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Brooklyn Baritone. You can also find me on LinkedIn under Corey Ashley. I'm also found on Instagram and Facebook. You can also check me out on the iTunes Play Store and the Google Play Store. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Anyways, leave you on a note. Unfortunately, we are soured all around, but it can easily get better. We just have to make sure we find a way to manage our own weaknesses to help other people around. I want you guys to be blessed. I want you guys to stay safe. You will hear from me next week. Walk good. I'm out.